Talk to me, baby. Tell me what you're feeling. You say you don't want me to go. Don't you pretend you didn't know how all of this would end up. Girl, I saw it in your eyes.
Today, I have the amazing opportunity and honor to sit next to Mr. John Walsh, better known from America's Most Wanted, and also here is his wife, Reve Walsh. Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Walsh, for coming to Have You Heard?
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now on July 27, 1981, Mr. and Mrs. Walsh's son, Adam Walsh, was abducted and murdered, and it was such a tragic loss. And I have here an article from the Florida Daily Post. In 1981, Hollywood, Florida Police Chief Chad Wagner stated that the department had concluded that Otis Toole, a serial killer, had passed away in jail in 1996. Mr. Toole was the man who kidnapped and murdered their son, Adam Walsh. Now, in December 16th, 2008, the Hollywood Police Department announced that the case against Mr. Toole was strong enough to close, and it closed the investigation of Adam's death. So, can you make a comment about how that made you feel?
That was definitely very hard. It's been a long, drawn out 2 decades for us.
Very angry 2 decades. I'm just glad it's starting to get resolved and we actually
Have closure.
have closure.
Yes, closure is what you both need. Yeah. Now, due to Adam's death, Mr. Walsh's efforts went on to the creation of the Missing Children Act of 1982. Later, the Missing Children Assistance Act in 1984, and also Reve established the Adam Walsh Child Resource Center. Now, John, what did George Bush sign July 27, 2006?
It was the Adam Walsh Protective Act, passed on the 25th anniversary.
Yes, and that law will track and apprehend convicted sex offenders who disappear after they're released from prison. Now that we've covered that, I just want to ask you a couple questions about when Adam went missing. Now, he was just 6 years old when he went missing. What was going through your mind, Reve, when you realized he was missing?
It definitely went through a sequence. It definitely, at first I kind of played it off because he's always been such a energetic kid. You know, I thought that maybe he found boys a little older that he wanted to hang out with, or maybe he needed to go to the bathroom and he couldn't wait for me. So I think that it became a red light when I started to ask cashiers, and I asked a man to go into the bathroom and see if he found a little boy in there, and the fact that nobody, they didn't know anyone that fit the description of a little boy with a gray shirt on and jeans definitely scared me.
And also, Reve, you were the one who told John that he was missing.
Right.
So when she called you and told you that your son was missing, what was going through your mind?
I was just praying to God like this was some type of sick joke. I couldn't think of anything worse for a parent to hear that your son is missing, let alone finding out later that he is indeed dead. I mean, I went back and forth with it in my mind. It killed me inside.
I can only imagine what that must have felt like. And I also have here that when he was found, all they could find was his severed head and not even the rest of his body. That has to be like so hard to take.
Yeah.
How did you react? How did you feel?
The first thing that you think about when someone in your family dies, somebody that you care about so much, you think about if they went in peace. And the fact that I have no reassurance and the fact that I know, that he was scared and that we weren't there to protect him was very hard for us.
When I heard about this, the only thing went through my mind is justice. I wanted to see that this guy was dead. I mean, that's my boy you're talking about.
Yeah.
You don't kill my blood and get away with it.
Right.
That hurt me right here.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, that was so tragic.
Right.
And how has it affected your marriage thus far? How has it affected
It was
at all?
definitely an up and down hill, I think. You know, this was not without struggle. There was definitely struggle, but I think that once we got back on the same level, you know, and saw eye to eye and read the same book, you know.
And John?
I actually thought that we was going to get divorced at one point. I mean, statistically speaking, 9% of marriages, you split up because, like, when you have a child's death, you're going back and forth, you arguing, you wondering who fault it was. Was it my fault? Was it your fault?
Because I didn't know how to feel, you know. It took a while for me to try to even get back to normalcy. I had to take a while off of my own career just to, you know, be depressed, I guess. And he gave me space, but I think that I needed some actual space.
So have you guys, you know, improved as, you know, a married couple? Has
Yeah.
it gotten better?
Definitely.
We actually pulled through. I'm actually proud of us. Took a lot of counseling.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. Took a lot of counseling, reassurance, and just be happy we got the rest of our family to take care of.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Otis Toole made 24 documented confessions that he did in fact kill your son, and that still was not enough to convict that man. It took 2 decades.
Yeah.
What comment do you have about that?
I understand that police have their certain protocol that they need to follow before they can ever, you know, it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. But obviously, as any anxious parent that wants justice, you know, much like my husband, who's very anxious and ready for this to be over and just to push through this, we just wanted it to be over, and the fact that that wasn't enough in the moment was very painful.
I just feel no remorse for the guy, to tell you the truth. I mean, there's nothing that could justify you killing an innocent 6-year-old child who doesn't even have a life. I mean, he's 6-year-old, like, he didn't know what was right or what was wrong. It's just like some creep just takes him. Yeah. And like, I mean, I feel like I have investment wasted.
Yeah.
Because like that's my son, you know. Like everything I put in, like I bought him clothes, I put him through school. I was there when he was sick, you know. Like it just ruins it.
It definitely brought back a lot of memories from the moment that he was born, or, you know, even when I was pregnant, and brought back a lot of flashbacks of things.
Yeah, and then you birthing him and just seeing what was being done to him, that was just completely awful.
Yes.
And I also understand that he also made a statement saying that he actually felt bad for killing your son because he was the youngest person that he has killed. He's killed many, many, many people, and he made the statement that he actually felt bad because he was the youngest. 6 years old was the youngest.
Right.
What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think that he should feel bad. I don't know how bad he really felt. You know, I think that was just something that he threw out there. But I feel bad for not just my son, but everyone else that he killed. You know, I feel bad for their families and any of their loved ones. So not just my son, but I feel bad for anybody that fell victim to that guy.
And John, you have a comment?
I speak for everybody that he took the life out their family when I say there's no excuse for that at all. I mean, if you take something from somebody, you could give it back to them. You mess up their car or anything like that, you could get it repaired. But once you take somebody's life, there's no going back to that. You ruin a whole family joy. You can't fix that. So my words to him is that, I mean, I forgive him, but I could never forget what he done to me in particular. And like you took my son's life. There's no going back from that. And like I wouldn't really know what I'd do if I saw him. Put it that way.
Right. And also, does it make you feel any kind of way that he died in 1996 before he could be convicted for the crime? Like it took 2 decades. He died before he could go through that punishment.
Right. I think in the beginning, it was kind of torture for us that, oh, we could have gotten this guy and it didn't happen. So in the beginning, yes, it was pretty painful. But once we got our closure, I think you can't cry over spilled milk. I think, at least he was in jail for something. He could have just had a heart attack in his own comfortable home. So.
And John, you have a comment?
I don't think he does.
Very hard. But I want to bring up America's Most Wanted. America's Most Wanted has helped capture over 1,000 criminals and bring home over 50 missing children since 1988. Are you proud of that? Like, how does it make you feel that you've helped so many people?
I'm very proud. The fact that we actually could help people who doesn't have a voice, like I feel that we didn't have the privilege of this.
Right, we had to be our own voices.
It could have been taken care of in so many other ways. It should have been taken care of right there when it happened. I find that it's messed up that you have to have a certain amount of evidence in a certain amount of time before they could call it a kidnapping case. To me, that is just a waste of time, because while we are going through the system and everything, Lord knows what is going on with that particular child. Like, example, my son being decapitated. In that time, we could have had a whole lot of help. We could have stopped that. But instead, we had to go through so many congressmen, so many laws we had to go through just so we could get the help needed. By then, it was too late.
We obviously were not, during the time, weren't big fans of the police system.
So
No.
But to help other people, yeah, that's very good, because like it's kind of going to that point. One life is gone, you save a million others, because like a lot of people are going to get helped out because of this, and hopefully we could get to their kids before something bad happens to them.
Definitely. So I think I'm not going to say that it was for good, but maybe our son was almost like a sacrifice. Our son was sacrificed so that so many other parents wouldn't have to feel what we went through.
Yep, he's in heaven, tools in hell.
Yeah.
So do you think that Adam would be proud of you?
I think that he would be so proud.
Because the show had done so well and helped so many people and so many families.
Right.
Do you think he'd be really proud?
I think that he would be so proud.
That's great. Well, I really think that America's Most Wanted is such a great show. Well, when it was on,
Right.
that it was such a great show to really help people. And, it's such a tragic loss
Right.
about Adam's death, but it's such an amazing feeling to know that though it was so tragic,
Something good came out.
Something good came out of it.
Right.
Like all of those criminals and, the missing children.
It was a novelty for me also. I think that at first, my husband always wanted to be a hero, I think that this was just his way. So I think that when I first heard about, the show, when it was just under creation and things, I just kind of wrote it off. But, years into it, I see that this is something that he was passionate about, and it gave him something, something to keep close to his heart. So
Yeah,
it's definitely a novelty.
You never gave up. You wanted justice.
Right.
And
Right.
even though it took so long, you would not give up on your son.
Right. And I never would. And if he was alive to this day, I never would,
And John, do you have anything else you want to say?
I want to say my son's death will indeed make parents aware that there are predators out there. My advice is, just be more vigilant and, practice with your kids. Like somebody offer you this, say, come here. Don't go to them unless you talk to your parent first. And, just be smart about it. And,
Okay.
Don't be too
Well,
rash.
I just want to thank you, John and Reve, for coming to the show. It was such a pleasure to have you. And everyone is so proud of you both and what all you've done. And thank you for tuning in to Have You Heard? I'm Casey Johnson, and I will see you later.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you. Thank you.
So regular conversation.
Okay.
to me, baby.